Hey everyone, Cthulhu Luigi here, and welcome back to Let's Play Pikmin Challenge Mode. In these two segments, we'll be doing the Forest Navel. I have to say, this is probably one of the most memorable levels in or like any recent Nintendo games for me, because this is as far as I got when I first played Pikmin as a kid. The fact that, aesthetically, it's just sort of weird. It's the only level that doesn't directly show up in Pikmin 2. You could argue that it sort of did as the Valley of Repose, but it's nowhere near as obvious as any of the other levels if it is in fact the same area. Okay, yeah, so someone said in the comments that maybe the reason I'm losing horribly is because I'm being a retard about getting the one pellets in the right one pellet, and again, probably shouldn't specifically aim to not do that, but I should also probably set my sights on more important things. So yeah, this level scared the crap out of me as a kid. It's just so confusing. There's water. I think I basically got the blue Pikmin and then played around at the landing site until I got to like day 10 and was just too scared of getting a bad end to go past that. Really a bit of a shame. I probably would have been like 300 times better at video games if I had forced myself to actually do this when I was a baby. Oh well, not a huge deal. And I have to say, I'm like sort of nervous doing this because, I mean, according to the thingy, I have done this before, or I have, yeah, done this before a couple times and gotten acceptable scores. But there are 2 bosses in this level, which is more than anything else, I think. And I mean, the Beady Longlegs, which is one of the 2 bosses in here, I think that's harder than the Emperor Bulblax, the final boss of the game. This level, yeah, I mean, even when I did my Let's Play of this and was pretty confident in what I was doing, I'd already played through the game 100% before. This gave me definitely the most trouble. There's just so many friggin' extra hard bomb rock walls. You have to, like, use up 3 different days worth of bomb rocks to even get into all the areas. There's friggin' fire everywhere. There's like that really confusing area way back all the way over there where you have to like turn blues into reds and back again to get them through water and fire. I mean, I don't know, the Distant Spring is sort of challenging in its own way, which is the way that involves spamming blowhogs and ball bears frigging everywhere there's an inch of free space, but this level is just like a lot more disorienting, and the puzzles are a lot harder, because Distant Spring, really, most of the puzzles are, oh no, it's water, how will you get around this obstacle? And I mean, there's an unskippable cannon beetle fight, but those things hardly qualify as bosses. They're like regular video game bosses, which are easier than most enemies. And bosses in video games sort of tend to go into 2 categories. One's the category where it's a really easy pattern that has nothing to do with any other form of the gameplay engine, and then the ones that are kind of hard and involve the gameplay engine being done in a certain way. But then again, in most not like turn-based things, those also have some kind of wacky pattern that you can learn and overall become non-threatening as they're predictable. Hopefully when AI starts getting better and things start reacting reasonably instead of going like, oh no, I took damage, I've got to keep doing the thing that took damage again, or like, I have a giant shock wave that blasts across the entire arena, but nah, I think I'm gonna shoot the light balls that Link's hit back at me with his sword the last 5 times and done the only damage he can do to me in the entire fight. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable plan. I mean, at that point, video games are probably going to get too scary and they'll just take over the world because no one's going to want to threaten with them. I mean, I can't imagine today's politicians and political leaders and authority figures dealing with, like, I mean, I don't even think most regular people could deal with Gygas, and that's just, like, easy mode for someone who has named themselves after a Lovecraftian demigods or regular gods or something, probably, like me. So yeah, I have absolutely no idea what I'm friggin' saying. But this level still freaks me out. It has good music, but like unsettling music too. It's like there's some guy with a banjo or an instrument I should know the name of off in the background. And this, I mean, the concept of this level confuses me too. The game calls it a forest, but it's inside of a cave, and I don't even understand, like, how that works. It's just so confusing. How could there be a cave in a forest? Well, I mean, there is a grass area, and I mean, I've seen stuff like this in Yellowstone, the weird dippy rock structures with water in them, although those were geysers or something, springs. Not quite the same. And the distant spring is really more of a lake than anything else. Or, I don't know, because you never get really deep water in this game, which would mean that this would, like, all the vast wetnesses of the distant spring would be like a puddle in real life that someone threw a bottle into, and it turned into a fetus monster. Oh, I wonder, I don't think Smoky Progs are anywhere in challenge mode. I just remember that the distant spring has a boggy mushroom, which I mentioned previously, and that made me thinking that, like, any boss is fair play anywhere in the entire challenge mode, and has my nerves on edge. But so far I haven't even seen any. Alright, and back to the thing where I was a kid. Look, there's freaking darkness in the background, and I had a guide, and I just saw, like, pictures of little light patches around Olimar with blowhogs, and something convinced me that, like, back there just went on forever, and there were blowhogs periodically, and then treasures out, and it really freaked me out. I mean, I didn't get freaked out of it like I did get freaked out of, like, Chain Chomps in Super Mario 64, because I never actually dealt with it, but it's quite interesting to see what levels like this are actually like when I had just never bothered going into them as a kid. Sort of like Hailfire Peaks and Mad Monster Mansion and all the levels I was too crap at Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie to do until I stopped being crap at video games. That was a long time ago. I mean, my Let's Play was my first 100% run of Banjo-Tooie, and actually, maybe I only used a cheat code. That's really not too relevant to Pikmin, but keeping up a better stream of commentary than I was in the last recording session, that's cool. And I hate the Pikmin AI in this game. They're kawaii-ish, I guess, but they're also, like, super retarded. Are there any enemies in this level? I mean, I'm afraid I'm going to get an answer I don't like or something. Yeah, this is a horrible level because everything friggin' resets. It's like worse than those bludgeoning sportwarts that eat the plants in levels if you leave them alone in Pikmin 2. I mean, that alone makes me not want to leave levels for very long, and the fact that enemies respawn, but I don't know. And yeah, and Louie sort of like trying to think of the right terminology. I'm just gonna go with pussied up the game, because you don't have to just say, okay, I hope no alien frogs come in from the heavens and eat all my Pikmin while I go have adventures elsewhere. I mean, letting them take this stuff back to the Onion is braver than I am in Pikmin 2. Always, or actually no, Pikmin 2 I'm a lot more comfortable with the level design, and even though the levels are like aesthetically identical except for this one, which is a horrible monster that has no resemblance to anything that's ever appeared on the face of the earth, Pikmin 2 I'm cool with. I mean, even the Wistful Wild, that's sort of confusing, but by that point I have like 1,000 of all the standard colors of Pikmin, and there's really no need to have them abandoned for too long. And also the Gatling Groink is the only roaming enemy, and for some reason, even though the Gatling Groink is more dangerous than the Ball Bear, I am less intimidated by it, maybe because it doesn't have bear in its name, and maybe because I don't know, it's sort of like a ball bear on steroids, except that the steroids make it, instead of eating Pikmin instantaneously, shoot missiles that have like a 1 in 5 chance of knocking a Pikmin's flowers off.